Let's get it. What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Timbo. I'm back with another video, and on this video we're going to go over every ability in Pokemon TCG Pocket, and we're going to be ranking them from worst all the way to the best. So as we go on in the video, they're only going to get better abilities. So comment below, what is your favorite ability and what mon you've been running to and their ability's been giving you trouble. Because if you guys don't know, we stream every day for about 2 to 3 hours, and we do PvP matches, and we got about 200 wins. And so this is all my opinion on what I ran into, like the playability and whatnot. So let's get to it. The first one we're gonna go over for the abilities is Porygon. Porygon has a pretty simple ability, nothing crazy. Once during your turn, you may look at the top card of your deck. That may be helpful if you're running a red card or if you have scope lens, because then you don't know like what's next, how you want to play it. But honestly, Porygon's not too crazy, only has 50 HP, and it's not really a threat, especially if its weakness is fighting. There's like a lot of Marowak decks and Primeape decks right now, so it's not gonna be too crazy. So that's why it's kind of at the bottom for abilities. And then we go on to Cloyster. Cloyster's not too bad. Shell armor is minus 10 damage from attacks. You have to go from Shelter to Cloyster, and it takes 3 energies to do 70 damage. And especially with all these Pikachus running around in the meta, its weakness to electric, it's not too well. It could run with a Starmie deck, but overall I do have Cloyster at the lower end for its ability. Not too much, you don't see it too often in the meta, or even if you're running a non-meta team. And then that leads us to Poliwrath. Poliwrath ability is kind of a sleeper. I have run into a couple who are running Starmie decks, Lapras decks, and or Blastoise decks with the Poliwrath, and the counterattack is the ability, which is if this Pokemon is in the active spot and is damaged by an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, does 20 damage to the attacking Pokemon. I have run into it here and there, nothing too crazy, but hey, if you get hit and get to do an extra 20 damage, it will make your opponent think twice before doing certain attacks or with certain mons, depending on their HP. So Poliwrath, nod to you. And up next, we got good old Victory Bell with Fragrance Trap. Don't run into Victory Bell too often. There's a couple Venusaur decks out there that may have it in it and incorporate it, sometimes Executor decks, but with Zardy being relevant, like the top 3 decks being Pika, Mewtwo, and Zardy, some of these mons do have a little bit, but its ability is Fragrance Trap. If this Pokemon is in the active spot, once during your turn, you may be able to switch one of your opponent's bench basic to the active. So that is convenient, trapping them and swapping, but the thing that is lower is that they have to be in the active spot. Some of the better abilities are when mons aren't in the active spot and they can help your team go further, which will be higher ranked up in the next couple that we go through. So if you haven't yet, hit that like, hit that subscribe, helps the channel go, and stop by a live stream and do some battles with us. The next one we have is Melmetal. It has like a mid-tier deck, but honestly, if you can get to Melmetal, that's crucial because the weakness is fire and its ability is Hard Coat. This Pokemon takes minus 20 damage from attack, so 120 damage. It does take a while, but it's nice because Melton's ability does add an energy, or not his ability, but its move when you use it does add 1 energy, so that's clutch. And then also that plus 20 weakness versus fire types kind of neutralize it with its ability, and so those Zard decks, you may be able to withstand another one of its slashes. It's, I believe, Blast Burn does like 200, so you're not withstanding that, but is nice. It is a nice ability, have it in that middle tier. And now we're moving higher to these next few are going to be more that you see in PvP and more relevant, and we're starting with Magneton, because with the Pikachu deck there is a Magneton variant, also goes with Lieutenant Surge, that each turn, which is, this is one of the mons that we talked about a few seconds ago, that it's better when you do your ability when they're not in the active spot. This ability can happen while they're on the bench. So its ability is Volt Charge. Once during your turn, you may take energy from the energy zone attached to this Pokemon. So this is huge, especially if you're running the Pikachu deck with Lieutenant Surge, because when you're doing the Volt Charge, you're putting energies on Magneton, and then when you get to Raichu, use Lieutenant Surge and put on your energies on it, and then Raichu does like 120, 140 damage. I know the exact number, and hits pretty hard. And there are a lot of variants I see that with Pikachu EX, because Pikachu EX is cracked right now. So Magneton is on that upper tier. And then next we got is good old Gengar EX, and honestly I feel like Gengar should be higher than what it is. I feel like it's pretty slept on and should be used more often, probably will be used more often, especially as more sets come out. And its ability is Shadowy Spellbind. As long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, your opponent can't use any support cards from their hand. That's clutch. Now it does have to be in the active spot. It's not a bench ability, but when you're doing 100 damage and you have 170 HP and your opponent cannot use a support card, that's huge. If you're running Venusaur, no Ericas, you can't use Giovanni for extra 10 damage. You're not using any of oh my goodness, Serena, no, I just lost her name. When she makes you switch characters, comment below what the name is. It just flew my mind. But with that being said, 170 HP, they can't use their trainer mon. It does like have to be an active spot because bench ones do go crazy. Hey, Gengar's pretty bulky with 170 HP and doing a lot of damage, so Gengar's up there. Now I do have Pidgeot higher than Gengar. All right, don't murder me in the comments, but its ability is Drive Off. Once during your turn, you may switch out your opponent's active Pokemon to the bench. Your opponent chooses a new active. That's clutch because you can use this ability while it's on the bench. And so pretty much you're just non-stop pushing their mon out, and then they have to use energies to swap them unless they're using like a Pikachu deck with Electrode, which is free retreat cost, and then also a Starmie has free retreat cost, a Starmie X deck. But overall, Drive Off is a great ability, especially if you can use it on the bench. And then if it does have to come in, 130 HP is not too bad, and 70 with wing attack, and also it's colorless, so you could put this with any deck essentially and just have it on the bench and just swap out. So Pidgeot is clutch depending how you make your team. And I want you guys to comment below, what team have you guys been running and what's your favorite team? My favorite team is Venusaur EX, and I bring that up because the next mon is Butterfree, and you can run Butterfree with Venusaur. It makes it slower, but the heals are crazy, and this is why I love Butterfree, because its ability is Powder Heal. Once during your turn, you may heal 20 damage from each of your Pokemon. So if you got 2 Butterfrees on your bench, every Pokemon that you have is getting healed for 20 from each Butterfree. That's like 2 free potions to every mon every turn, and it just heals. And that works really good with a Venusaur deck because it slowly becomes a stall deck. If you got Butterfree doing 20 each turn, you got 2 potions, you got 2 Ericas, which each Erica does 50 HP. Venusaur, which it's a move after you do it gives you 30 HP. It's like a bulky stall deck. That's why I love Venusaur. I haven't ran one with the Butterfree, but it's also huge because there is the Lapras event where you can get the Butterfree essentially for free. You just beat the Lapras little solo challenge and you have opportunity to get it. 20% odds, 1 out of 5. If you guys have been doing the event, you guys know. And that's why I want to show this Butterfree picture for the art variants, just so you know that is in the promo. So do your Lapras challenges. And we lead into Hypno, and Hypno has been getting so much more play in PvP. It's insane with the ability Sleep Pendulum. I think that's how you say it, Pendulum. Once during your turn, you may flip a coin if head your opponent's active Pokemon is asleep. This ability is so clutch because it can happen while it's on the bench. And I've seen a lot of these Hypnos being blended in with Alakazams, as well as I've seen a couple with Mewtwo. You're fighting a Mewtwo. If I look on the bench and I see Mewtwo in the active spot, 2 Gardevoirs on the bench, and a Hypno, which has happened on stream, I'm sick. I'm going to sleep, and when you're asleep, you can't attack, you can't retreat. Gardevoirs are just feeding freaking Mewtwo, and then Mewtwo side strikes hitting for 150, as well as Alakazam. I've been seeing a lot of Hypnos with Alakazam just because it gets there so quick. Alakazam, its move, it does an extra 30 damage for every energy your opponent has, as well as Hypno. They're putting them to sleep, they can't swap out. And the good thing about Hypno is you only need stage 2. You just need Drowsy to Hypno. It's not like a third evolution like Butterfree where you need Caterpie, Metapod, and then Butterfree. So that's less card space is taking because you only get 20. And it's huge because since it's only Drowsy, Hypno, super easy to evolve. It's only on the bench, it puts them to sleep, and it saves more space in your deck for other trainers or any other card you want to run. That's why I'm a little hesitant with the Butterfree on my Venusaur. It just takes too much space. And now these next 3 are running the game right now. If y'all haven't yet, hit that like, hit that subscribe, and we are going to talk about Weezing. I don't have to say much, you already know. Ability of Gas Leak. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, you may make your Pokemon's active Pokemon poison. which is just frustrating because there's so many decks that use Weezing, which there's an Arbok deck right now, as well as there's the Koga's deck. They have Nidoking and Nidoqueen variants, as well as I've been seeing a lot of Mewtwo, a lot of Marowak and other ones have this as a variant because you only need two. You get Coughing to Weezing, you poison them, and the only two ways to get out of poison is if you evolve your Mon or if you retreat. So you're just taking damage, and it's so frustrating, and Weezing ability Gas Leak is a problem. Now, its weakness is fighting, and there's been a lot of Marowak decks running around, but overall, it gets the job done. It's a menace, and also it's a dark type. So when it uses Tackle, something simple, that does some good damage against Mewtwo. You get extra 20 plus your ability Gas Leak, so you're hitting for Mewtwo for 60 each, or any other psychic like Alakazam as well. And so I got Weezing for number 3 on the best abilities, and number 2 on my list, I got Greninja. All right, Greninja is just frustrating, and you guys can see the stamp because it will be coming in promo packs in the future. So if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe so you don't miss any of these updates, any of these videos. It will be coming out in the future for a promo, and they got to stop giving away these good mons with abilities in promo packs, because man, if you guys know the ability, it's Water Shuriken. Once during your turn, you may do 20 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. This can happen on the bench. So a lot of times you're running, you know, a Blastoise or a Starmie or a Lapras deck, especially with Starmie. Starmie gets free retreat cost, so it's coming in and out frequently. You got 2 Greninjas in the back, you're hitting 40 damage overall, 20 each Greninja to any Mon on the field while you're on the bench, while Starmie's doing 90. But all together, you have a Starmie in the active spot, you got 2 Greninjas with Water Shuriken. If you can build to that, it is a problem. You're hitting for 130 each turn, and especially if you have mons that are low HP and you're retreating or waiting to get a heal like a potion, or if you're running a grass deck like an Erica or any of that nature, you're getting 40 hit to your bench now with Water Shuriken because both of those Greninjas are hitting. So you're trying to retreat and trying to heal, or not trying to really waste that mon and save one of your points. Water Shurikens, gotcha. So you know what? For abilities, I got Greninja number 2. And number 1, you guys can see at the top. It's no question. You guys see the list the whole time. Do I have to say anything? Do I really have to say anything? If you play Pocket TCG, you already know. Pikachu, Mewtwo. Top 2 decks run oversaturated. Everyone runs Mewtwo. Everyone is sick of Gardevoir. But if you don't know, well, now you know, because I'm about to explain it to you. Psy Shadow is the ability. Once during your turn, you may take 1 energy from your energy zone and attach it to a psychic mon in the active spot. So Mewtwo's ability, Psy Drive, does 150 damage, but you remove 2 psychic energies. And guess what? Each turn you get 1 energy, and then if you have just 1 Gardevoir, you get another. So you're at 150, lose energies, next turn, get 1 Gardevoir. And if you're running 2 Gardevoirs, you're actually outpacing, because now you're getting 3 energies per turn. 2 Gardevoirs each giving the active spot, as well as 1 you get for each turn. So Gardevoir is Gardevoir. I don't have to say much more. I explained it. You guys already know how frustrating it is with Mewtwo, and that's why I feel like Arbok on the tier list is getting higher, as well as Koga decks, because a lot of people are trying to run dark types to counter Mewtwo. And yeah, that is the top abilities, or essentially all the abilities. So if you haven't yet, hit that like, hit that subscribe, and that's gonna be it for the video. I appreciate everyone checking out and watching, and come by a live stream. Until next time, peace.